views and opinions expressed on the MCS1 show are not necessarily the views of Vagabond Studios, this University Life, its affiliates, management, or advertisers. Live from Happy Valley Studios, this is the MCS1 show featuring Caleb Hennon. And now your host, the last free voice in America, MCS1!
Welcome everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of the MCS1 show. I am MCS1.
And I'm Caleb.
And today we have a wonderful topic that has been long overdue for discussion.
Definitely.
Okay. So, we all have like a Facebook account or Twitter or something.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, and we all like enjoy the internet and YouTube, but it's kind of gotten out of control. So today our topic is how out of control social networking has become.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's it's spinning wildly.
It's just messed up. It's replacing real life.
Well, and that's the problem. You know, it's kind of like, you know, touching back on the gaming episode. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
And how that was kind of their virtual reality and stuff, and you know, social networking has kind of ended up becoming that same idea.
Okay,
you know, where you don't really have a real life, you have your virtual one.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. When you're replacing your real life with your fake one, it's kind of getting out of control.
Well, it's just lame.
Yes.
You know, not to poke fingers at anybody, but it's
lame.
lame.
It's very lame.
It's lame. You know, it's
Facebook
just...
poke lame. So poke lame.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's just get started. I don't really have any specific opening remarks. I just want to start with different types of social networks is what we're going to go through and the effects they've kind of had. So let's start with the real main big one. Let's start with MySpace.
Ooh, the original.
There was probably something before it, but it's probably not worth mentioning.
No, I mean...
I'm sure some hipster knows what it was before.
But probably...
It was Yahoo GeoCities. Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, no, MySpace was the first big one.
Yeah, the first big one. And why... All right, here's why social networks are so cool. Here's why they... Well, in theory... I mean, why they were so big. Okay, everyone wants their own website, their own page. They want something about them to tell other people, whether it's friends that they've known, new acquaintances, business colleagues, whatever, just anything. You know, your parents' mom, your parents' dog sitter's friend's daughter. It's like just to show people. That, you know, and it's like, oh, this is about me, without telling them. You know, not too bad. But what this kind of does is it eliminates actual, real conversation, which is something that we'll get into a little bit later on in this show. So, MySpace. So MySpace is like pretty, it was kind of cool because you could find people that you haven't talked to in forever.
Right.
And you wanted to see how they were doing. So when I find someone on MySpace and Facebook that I haven't seen in forever, Caleb, do you have any experience with this?
With finding people that you haven't seen in a while?
Yeah. I found some people that I haven't seen in years, like a couple ex-girlfriends and stuff. They weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
It was lame. It wasn't worth it. It was really unsatisfying and fulfilling. And I thought like, oh, I've touched base with these people again. It's going to be like it was. We're going to... You know, not like get back together like, you know, we're going to date again, but just like really
talk
connect.
Again, yeah.
And we're going to be best friends again. No, it never happened. It doesn't happen. If it does, it's really rare. And, you know, it was really anticlimactic. I don't know, it just upset me.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too, is that when the problem has become this, people are depending way too much on this virtual barrier. You know, to kind of...
Yeah.
It should be a bridge. Tool. Yeah, it's supposed to be a bridge.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like, you know, use it every now and then, but when you're using it all the time, it's kind of defeating its purpose and it's wearing out super fast.
Right.
And so now to MySpace. So it's cool that you could, or like social networking in general, particularly MySpace. It's cool that you have your own thing or whatever. It's like, oh, you can share information about yourself, have a couple pictures.
Sure.
But then it's like, well, the information starts getting a little more deep. And so, like, then it's like, here we go. MySpace quizzes.
Ooh.
You remember these?
Yep.
Man. Like, you go on someone's page and there'd be like MySpace quizzes. And it would say like these stupid things like, the results are awful. It's like, you are a dragon fairy. You enjoy long walks on the beach, naked horseback riding, building birdhouses for homeless people. It's like the most ridiculous thing ever. And people are like, oh, I'm such a dragon fairy. Shut up! You're stupid.
Oh,
this is so dumb and a waste of time.
Yeah, like they would
I felt dumber just for reading it.
Right, and
they
would
reciting this.
They would post their little results with this little comment like, "LOL, it's exactly like how I really am."
Is it really, or are you just dumb?
Well, then it's like, I had a friend. I actually called somebody out on that one time.
Oh,
I had a friend who took one of those quizzes that said that she was. Supposedly, her superhero character was Spider-Man. Because she was smart, but she was a little self-deprecating and all these little things. And I was like, wait. And so I commented on it, and she said, oh, wow, this is so true. So I commented on it, and I was like, didn't you get a 2.0 in high school?
Aren't you kind of dumb?
I'm pretty sure that Peter Parker got a 4.9. Like,
yeah.
And then I was like, and wait. Self-deprecating? You're the most self-worshipping person I've ever met.
Ugh.
Like, what part of this is true?
Yeah, it's just dumb. I actually, when I worked as an RA at community college, one of my supervisors pulled us in for like a survey type thing.
Hooray!
And it was she was awful. And so it was on social networking. And I really didn't want to be there, one, because I hated my boss.
Okay.
And she was rude, still is. And two, I just didn't want to be there because it was a waste of time. And I was one of the RAs that got randomly pulled for this thing. And so they're like, well, what do you think about social networking and things like this? Is it good or bad? I raised my hand and I brought up these quizzes. And I was talking more particularly about, Facebook.
Right.
But, this still applies. And so I said, I think these are stupid. People spend all these time, doing any social networking things, and they let their lives, kind of crumble, and their grades just get awful. Because as an RA, I worked with kids who had a hard time adapting to college and things like that.
Right.
And a lot of them spent a lot of time on social networks. And so, because they didn't know how to really go out and make friends, so they would go online and try to do it.
Exactly.
And it didn't work. And so I brought this up. I'm like, yeah, they spend so much time on this stuff, taking these dumb quizzes that's bad. It's not good for them. And this one stupid girl who everyone hated and couldn't stand, rich girl who had no problems in her life at all, raises her hand, who is also an RA, and she says, yeah, that's not the way I see it. You see, and then she goes off talking about how she spends all this time on social networks and all this other crap, and then talked about how good of grades she got. Okay, first of all, I worked with you. You suck at your job. Just throwing that out there. And everyone knew you suck at your job. Just throwing that out there. And she was awful and really annoying. And so it's like, well, the reason you like that type of stuff is because no one can be around you enough to see how annoying you really are.
Right.
And then at the end she goes, oh, and by the way, I'm Belle. Like that was her Disney princess result.
I'm Belle.
I'm Belle. Okay. First of all, one, you're not really smart or a bookworm. The only thing you read is off a computer screen, probably from Wikipedia.
Right.
No. It just frustrates me.
Well, and the other thing is that, another reference back to the gaming episode is that, you remember we talked about how, all of this gamer generation had replaced their life with this virtual life.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like Facebook is the social-ish, kind of the social kind of version of World of Warcraft.
Oh my gosh.
It really is. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Basically,
they even have RPG games that you can
They totally do. They totally
do. We'll discuss that later.
They totally do. And it's just all of these, MySpace especially was super guilty of this. These websites are just basically World of Warcraft for people that don't like video games.
Yeah, it's so dumb. So back to the MySpace thing or whatever, and it's the people, and then you would meet like lots of random people that you didn't know adding you like all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was weird and stuff. And it's like, what kind of people are you really meeting? Like, you brought up before the show, those like our homeschooling episode, those girls
right,
that would just meet people off MySpace and then get pregnant. It's like not a good place to really be meeting people.
Exactly, and that's the thing is that if that's where you're meeting somebody, there's an episode of a TV show that I watched that says there are only two kinds of people that meet people online. For dating.
Yeah,
and it's really funny. He said either they're crazy or they're ugly. And this is the extreme cases. They're both.
Yeah,
and it's just like,
and that's not completely true, but I see what you're saying.
No, and it's and I'm not trying to bash on like dating websites, but it's kind of if you were to apply that principle to meeting somebody through a social network, it's kind of true.
Yeah, and like another thing to think about is when these people are on these social networks, okay, they're not getting out and they're not really meeting other people.
Exactly.
And so it's like creating this bubble. And in addition, like this bubble, it's like, well, where are you getting your social skills then?
You don't even know.
You're getting them from other people online who aren't getting them. It's like, it's really not a good thing at all.
And it's a bit of a vicious cycle, too, if you think about it.
And it's not good. So back to the type of people on MySpace. Man, MySpace, that was a pedophile's playground, huh?
Oh, yeah, it totally was.
Man,
totally
so many
was.
shows came out of that, like the How to Catch a Predator.
Uh-huh.
Chris Hansen, it's kind of funny. I was sitting in a web design class, and I was sitting next to this girl, and she's really funny, and we were looking at this website, and she said like something along the lines of, it looks like a pedophile designed this. Kind of thing. And I was just thinking, what would it be like if a pedophile had a website? I guarantee it'd be similar to MySpace. But here's what I was thinking off the top of my head. Now, hear me out on this. It would be something along the lines of this. Hi, my name's Herb, and for reasons, legal reasons that I would rather not discuss, my Facebook account was banned. So here's my website. Yee-hoo! And it's just poorly, drawn up and stuff. It's like, here's a picture of me passing out some ice cream to some kids on a hot summer day with my van with no windows. Also, here's me sitting in a pile of leaves getting ready to jump out at some kids at Halloween. Oh, and by the way, check out my MySpace page. When was the last time you heard anybody besides, I hear it randomly when I go to concerts, like local bands, they'll be like, and check out our MySpace page. Well, that statement never sounds cool, no matter who you are.
Well, and that's also, I mean, like lately, that's what my MySpace became, was just basically something for like local bands.
Yeah, and that's what it turned into.
Well, and it's like either there are only two kinds of people on MySpace now: pedophiles and bands.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe there's one that's both.
Yeah, a band of pedophiles.
A band of pedophiles.
Yeah, it's playing children's birthday parties all around the U.S.
Oh no!
Awful, but yeah, it's ridiculous and. It's so stupid what MySpace turned into. And the thing I hated most about MySpace, more than anything, wasn't just the quizzes and the pictures and all of this stuff. It was the fact, like, you could customize your own page and add all the quizzes, pictures, movies. And so, like, you log on to someone's page, and you always had, like, one friend like this, and all they did was hang out on MySpace building their page. And you would click on their page, and all of a sudden your computer would freeze for a second, and you would hear your fan turn on inside of it. Like, because your processor is overheating because there's so much going on.
Yep.
Loading up all these quizzes, pictures, dragon fairies, whatever.
Yeah.
It was out of control so much. And like, their page would be super long. And like, let's say you just want to like add a comment. You had to scroll down for like an hour and a half before you even got there.
Yeah. And then they would never see it.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It just it got pretty lame.
Pretty lame, pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dumb, but it's what people wanted. So I don't know if it's like bad to say that MySpace is to blame for what it did, because I had good intentions, or if the people are to blame for what it did.
Tom, one of the founders of MySpace, I don't think his initial goal was let's create a cesspool for pedophiles.
Yeah, I don't think he sat down and he was like, how can I help the pedophiles of America? I mean,
I know. MySpace.
MySpace.
It's perfect.
I'll put this picture of me on there. That looks super dorky. Oh, speaking of Tom and MySpace, Tom isn't even on MySpace anymore.
Nope.
He's not. So the original user of MySpace
is gone.
Is gone. It's like that's like the Wizard of Oz and Dorothy not being there.
Yeah, you just got the
She's
Lion,
like,
the Tin Man, and
nope,
others.
Staying in Kansas.
Yeah, but then having Tito there.
Yeah.
Tito went.
It's like
the dog, of course.
Or Toto.
Or Toto, whatever the dude's name was.
Tito, Toto.
I don't know what his name was. Tito, Toto, something with a T and an O.
Taco.
That was his name.
Taco the dog.
Taco.
So,
he was a Chihuahua.
Yes. And so, the Taco Bell dog. So, yeah, it's...
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
It was ridiculous. And then everything about MySpace, people were creating fake profiles.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
For people, it's like, oh, I'm friends with Duffman. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would definitely want to be friends with Duffman.
I want to be friends with Duffman.
Who doesn't want to be friends with Duffman?
Duffman is awesome. And so, yeah, MySpace, it just got bad. And so then... So Tom isn't on MySpace anymore, but you know what he's doing really big on lately?
What's that?
Google Plus.
Ooh, Google Plus.
Google Plus. Let's discuss for a moment Google Plus. Remember when Google Plus, first it was exclusive, and everyone was like, this is going to replace Facebook and Twitter, and it's going to blow all these social networks away, and it's still in the same spot it was.
Yep.
And it did nothing. And it's like, oh, this is so cool. I remember when I got an invite to Google Plus. It was like my one of my friends. It was like a friend of a friend on Facebook. He added me. Like he's like, oh, could I get an invite to Google Plus? And he wrote on his Facebook wall. He's like, oh, I have invites to Google Plus, and it came up in my mini feed. I'm like, oh, can I get one? And so this guy added me as a Facebook friend. I'm like, okay. And I never see this guy. And he adds me, send me an invite to Google Plus. I never see this guy. I don't know who he is, but I was like, oh, thanks for the invite. But I've never seen him or heard from him. And he lives here in the same town I do. And it's like, oh, it'd be cool to hang out with this guy. But I don't really want to. Because it's weird because he's from the internet.
Yeah, you don't. Well, that's the thing is that it's the same thing we were talking about. You don't know somebody just because you talk to him online.
Yeah.
You don't even know. It's like back in the day, like chat rooms.
Oh, man, chat rooms. Let's discuss chat rooms.
I mean...
I just want to say A/S/L 14FCA with pics. Just throwing that out there. Had to say it. All right, go ahead, Caleb.
Well, I mean, originally chat rooms were, I think, in my opinion, probably the original meeting people online.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I'd say that is definitely the original.
I don't think it's social networking per se because you didn't really see the people. It was just a room full of people.
Occasionally, you could click a profile and there may
occasionally
may not be a picture.
And it's like, okay. The perfect example that I can think of what a chat room really was is for those of you that have seen Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
Kip
is
the perfect chat room profile.
No, I have a Kip relating. I had a roommate who was just like Kip. Actually.
Oh no way!
Yeah, and one
Kip?
time,
Ew.
One time he sat with his laptop on a couch and he says, "Well, off to go meet babes," and then he opened up his laptop while sitting on the couch.
That's exactly what Kip does.
That's exactly what it was, and I was like, "What is going on?"
My favorite part, of that movie, honestly, that movie, as dumb as it is, it just cracks me up. Some of the stuff they bring
it's
up.
Great. The series is great too.
Oh, really? I haven't seen the series yet. I need to start watching it.
It's just as dumb, but it has more. It has a plot finally.
Okay.
And it's really good. It's really well written, good humor.
Well, and I hear that they got the original voices for it too.
Yeah, and it's not crude humor either.
Oh wow,
and that makes it really funny.
Well, and that's a lot. Like the original, the movie was not a lot of crude humor.
Oh yeah, it's great. I love it.
But anyway, the scene when Napoleon walks in and he's like, gosh, Kip, eat all the freaking chips, and he's like, Napoleon, just make yourself a darn quesadilla.
Yeah.
And and they had that little discussion, and then he's like, Napoleon, you're just jealous because I've been chatting with hot babes like all day.
No, I'm not. Gosh.
Well,
it's
but it's like that's
you're such a loser, Kip. Why don't you get out your butt off the chair and go meet people? Oh,
that's what he should have said.
Yeah, seriously. Well, Kip, Yahoo sucks. I mean, those chat rooms, they're just full of slime. But he never did. Oh, I wish you would have.
And the thing is, really, I mean, you can't really depend on Napoleon Dynamite for something like that.
Oh yeah,
I know.
but
just the fact that is, and the funny thing about it is, a lot of people thought like that.
Oh, I know, and still think like this.
Yeah, I mean, like they meet somebody on Facebook and they're like, "Oh man, I totally met this hot babe today. She's so cool, dude. We're like soulmates." And then it's like, what's her name? You don't know. Her profile name said her name was Candy, and I was like,
pretty
yes,
sure that's a real name, bro.
Yeah, Candy is definitely not where her parents named her when she came out of the womb. And they were like, "Oh, this baby's so sweet, Candy.
Oh my god.
Let's name her Candy."
Sure, honey. I think that's a great idea.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea, honey. Let's next up we'll have another kid. It'll be a boy. We'll name him Laffy Taffy. I mean, what like that's just, I really don't think that, and a lot of times, on MySpace, I really don't think half the people that added me were A, real, or B, put on their real information.
Yeah,
and they
I
would
question that too.
Well, the thing too that always kind of got me about Facebook is they asked you your body type.
Really?
Yeah. Did you ever hear about that?
No, that was MySpace had that.
Or MySpace, sorry. MySpace did that.
had that.
MySpace did that.
Yeah,
not Facebook,
it was
sorry.
Like
MySpace did that.
It was like MySpace, it was like Slim, Little More to Love or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like, this isn't a dating website, it's a social networking website.
Yeah, I mean,
why do I have to include this information?
Yeah, I put a little more to love or
on my
whatever.
profile, I put huge.
Yeah, and if anyone has seen me, I'm like 5'10", 180 pounds.
Yeah, and
really skinny.
Yeah,
average looking.
Well,
kind of, I guess.
And something
average body type.
Nick Swardson. I don't know if anybody's heard of Nick Swardson, the comedian, but
I have.
He did this thing because it also asks you for your orientation, your sexual orientation.
Oh yeah, and it also asks for your race too.
Yeah, which is,
and you could search people by race with a geographic area.
Yeah, and it's just like, really, that's kind of invasive.
Yeah, that was weird.
But Nick Swardson, he touches on that a little bit on the orientation part, and he's like, on my MySpace page, I put my sexual orientation as not sure, not because I'm not sure, but just because it just made me laugh that it was an option, and it's so true, because it's like, well, why does that matter in a social networking situation? If I choose to reveal that information, great. But when I joined MySpace, they like demand it.
Yeah, if you don't tell it, it's like you don't go to a party, and people are like, "Oh, what's like a casual conversation? Oh, what's your name? Blah blah blah." And I can see your body type and your height and your race, but they don't ask you. It's like, so what's your sexual orientation?
You into dudes or what? Yeah, it's
into dudes, chicks, both, none.
Not sure.
I
mean, it's just like, what kind of and it's like, it was required.
Yeah.
I remember it was like fill in all required fields, and they had a little asterisk, and I was like, really? This is required information?
Yeah.
How on earth can this be required information?
I don't need this when I fill out my FAFSA for college loans or grants. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
So, another thing that's kind of gotten out of control, trying to segue out of the MySpace a little bit. We discussed Google Plus. It's just kind of like a graveyard. Like, no one really uses it.
Yeah, there's nobody there.
Yeah,
there's not really anything to discuss because there's literally nothing going on.
Oh, apparently they people were upset because Google Plus didn't have games.
Ooh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my heart literally broke in two in that moment.
Oh my goodness. I will never join now.
Yeah.
They don't have games?
They don't have games. I was going to send you an invite, but I guess you
don't. I don't.
Oh.
If they don't have games,
I
want Farmville.
Oh my gosh. Something for another time. So, let's discuss Twitter for a moment. Yeah. I have Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at, let me see, I'll pull up my Twitter in a second and let you guys know what it is. But, yeah, I have Twitter. I have it for the show. And, I like it. It's okay. You can follow me on Twitter at the MCS1 show or whatever, and I randomly post things. But I don't post too much, really. I just post that my show is online. I post a song lyric every now and then. I post stupid stuff. And I don't post all the time, really. I have maybe like, some days I'm posting twice, and then some days I'm posting like once a week. And it's just stupid things. Like, here's one post. 80s nature picture. I don't even know what it means. I just thought it'd be funny. Happy feet, I shudder at thy very name. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's great.
Man, the bus is effing packed today.
That sounds... Well, and that's the thing, is like Twitter is basically... it's a website based on a status update.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I don't really update my stats because I don't want everyone knowing what I'm doing all the time, or really ever. I don't really update my Facebook much anymore.
It's an electronic leash.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
What it is, and it's like when you update your stats and people know what you're doing, they don't leave like nice comments about things. They're usually really rude half the time.
Yeah,
for no reason. What the f?
Well, it's like the other day, for instance. I updated my status, and I posted a video of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Who is, I'm going to put it out there. He's my favorite athlete. Very, very, very good basketball player. In my personal opinion, and in the opinion of many others, the greatest ever.
Yeah.
One of my friends posted, "Oh, Kobe's more consistent," and I was like, "Really?"
Gosh.
First of all, not true. Nothing against Kobe. He's a great player, but Michael Jordan, the biggest iconic name. And the thing is it's like the problem that brings up is just that it's like, okay, I didn't post this so that you could then tell me that I'm wrong in thinking that he's cool.
Oh man, yeah. I have another thing on that. I had a Facebook post a while ago, and I had one of the I had a guy came to my community college that I went to, and it was one of the guys who started up Facebook. And I had a picture with him. It wasn't Mark Zuckerberg. And so I had this guy, like the most condescending person in the world, as a friend who I knew, which I soon promptly blocked. Because I'm just tired of him because it was so condescending like all the time. And I don't even know why I accepted his friendship. So he said, like, apparently he was under the impression that Mark Zuckerberg was black.
What would have given him that impression?
I don't know, but he said, and he saw his picture, he's like, oh, unless Mark Zuckerberg has like a ton of bleach and my wife straightening hair iron, I doubt this is him. Whatever. And I go, well, Facebook wasn't just founded by one person. Mark, as we saw on the social network, there was lots of people who did.
Yeah,
this was one of the guys that Mark screwed over.
Wasn't it like 5 or 6 of them or something?
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I don't understand, like, when people get behind a computer screen, they get so much tougher.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is that it's another thing. It's the electronic barrier.
Yeah. It's stupid.
You can't really retaliate because you're not in the same room as them.
Yeah. Here's another thing. Back to the whole Twitter thing. All right. Here's the thing I don't like about Twitter. Twitter to me seems completely useless.
Well, that's because it is.
Yeah, that's because it is. And, I mean, I still use it every now and then because it's kind of fun. But I don't really like it. But, so, here's the thing. I noticed the most useless people have the most followers, like Paris Hilton has a ton. Here's what I don't understand. Ashton Kutcher has 9.5 million followers. What is so important that you need to follow Ashton Kutcher for? What has he really done lately or ever? He did that 70s show,
which was funny.
Punked, which is lame.
He was good in that 70s show, like, just
yeah.
But he played an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and then...
But since then, I don't know.
Yeah, he married Demi Moore. Okay. Divorcing Demi Moore.
Isn't she like his mom's age?
Okay, I don't know. So, anyway. So just throwing that out there. It just seems... Twitter's just, I don't know, just useless. I don't feel like these social... We got to wrap up. We're kind of running low on time, but closing remarks. I don't feel like these social networks, like people claim for businesses and things like that, they fulfill this need. But the real need is screwing off and not getting things done.
Yeah, that's about the only thing it's used for.
Yeah, imagine if we didn't have any of this stuff. What would we accomplish in the world? I'm pretty sure we could cure AIDS.
Or, at the very least, cancer.
Yeah, seriously. It's just all the untapped potential that we have. We're clouding it with social networking. Hooray.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's our show. Once again, I want to thank Caleb. And once again, if you are on Twitter, you can follow me at the MCS1 show. And the 1 is the number 1. Thanks a lot and have a great night. Goodbye.